debris on the track, the 1605 service to London King's Cross is delayed until further notice. We apologise for the inconvenience this may cause.
Youngsters today, they are so removed from reality, from each other. They never look up from their gadgets long enough to notice the world around them. They don't notice. They think they are invincible. Maybe children have always felt that way. I suppose we did too. That is, until they came.
My journey to Auschwitz-Birkenau began on May 19, 1944, when I boarded the train with my parents, 3 younger sisters and 2 brothers.
On a snowy November day in 1944 at Auschwitz, they called us together and crammed us again into rail cars. 80 girls in a rail car that was meant for 8 horses, and sent us away. We didn't know where, of course.
Bundles were placed onto the last car and people were herded onto the train. It was with a broken body and a broken heart that I arrived in Paris.
I was found in an empty train wagon by a Red Cross attendant about 20 kilometers from Warsaw.
Until the last minute, people did not believe that Germans would invade us. Somehow, we did not believe Hitler would come.
When sometimes I try to go back to my past, it's unbelievable for me. Sometimes I think I'm dreaming.
Things had got very bad for the Jews. As Hitler came to power, things gradually became more difficult. By 1933, the Jewish people in our village began to fear the changes that were happening. They were restricted from working and received fewer ration stamps. Things grew worse and worse. I remember Nazis coming in trucks to our village. They stormed Jewish homes in the night, using axes to chop through doors and smash windows. They took or destroyed all the lovely things in their home. Silver, featherbeds, quills, even food that had been carefully preserved. Many Jewish men and boys were taken away in trucks, never to be seen or heard again. I remember a lady who fled out the back door with her young boy when she heard Nazis breaking into her home. She hid in the bushes all night, wearing only her nightgown. She caught pneumonia and died. Much later, the rest of the Jews were rounded up. First, the women and children.
We were a big family. We were 8 children. They took us in January. I remember, January 4th, 1943. It was very cold. When you walked, the snow crunched under your feet. The SS people came into the ghetto and chased us with rifles to the train. If somebody would have given us a chance to walk out of Germany, to live in a camp, in a tent city, together, the whole family, they didn't give us that chance. They took us into the train. It was chaos loading the trains because children cried. Parents tried to keep together with children, and families wanted to be together. We came into that cattle train when it was full and closed from outside, locked so that nobody could go out. We had to stand because there was no room to sit down. The small windows with the barbed wires. It wasn't any glass, only barbed wires. Of course, we knew where we were going. Camp Belzec was a few stations from our city. A boy from our town was deported there, and he escaped. He came back and told us it was just crematoriums at Belzec. You came into Belzec and they gassed you. The shower had Zyklon gas in it. Nobody survived. You don't have one survivor from Belzec. You have survivors from Auschwitz, from Treblinka, but not from Belzec. It was strictly a death camp. Nobody survived. A boy tore the barbed wire from the train window. Young people started to jump out. Many jumped. The SS on the rooftop of the train shot at them with rifles. Father told us, the oldest, run, run, maybe you will stay alive. We will stay here with the small children, because even if they get out, they will not survive. To me, he said, you run. I know you will stay alive. You have the Belzer Rebbe's blessing. He was very religious, and he believed this. My brother Barilla jumped out, then my sister Hannah, and then I jumped out. The SS man shot at us. We landed in a snowbank. The bullets did not hit. When I did not hear anything more, I went back to find my brother. I found him dead. My brother Barilla was 15. We ran back to the city where we lived. We had a Gentile friend. She was scared to keep us. War turned the people. The people turned into animals. You can't trust anybody. Neighbours turned into enemies. The neighbours who weren't Jewish didn't want to know us anymore. They were friends before. During the war, when everybody tried to kill us, nobody helped. I took off my star and promised myself that never again would I ever wear a star.
It was on a Saturday morning, a day when their religion prohibits them from work or travel. They were told to bring clothes in bundles and report to the train station. I hid with a friend behind an electric pole to watch. It was very dangerous. The Nazis were carefully looking for anyone who came to say goodbye. I saw girls weeping. My friends I'd grown up with. Their bundles were placed on the last car, and the people were herded onto the train. We lived not far from Dachau. I assumed that was the destination. Before the train left the station, the last car was uncoupled, and these people's possessions were left behind.
The train has come to a stop. I smile. My throat is very dry. Oh, how long the trip had been. When will they give us our water?
I stood before the officer. His blue eyes flashed with a fierce will. He told me to go to the left. Is this the right direction?
The mist came back. It let me see, hear, and feel the pain of others. I now understood. How many children will cry in the night before one can see?
I was promised a shower. I could feel the icy fingers of death waiting to seize me. Take my life, take it. I am not afraid. How many times can the fires burn before one can hear?
I stripped off my clothes. They don't belong to me anymore. Take my clothes. I am as strong as ever. How much blood can fall to the soul before one can feel?
Do not worry. It is almost over now.
My soul will live forever in peace. When will they realize that?
I keep forgetting the facts and statistics, and each time I need to know them. I look up books.
These books line 12 shelves in my room.
I know where to go to confirm the fact that in the Warsaw Ghetto there were 7.2 people per room.
And in laws they allocated 5.8 people to each room.
I forget, over and over again, that 1/3 of Warsaw was Jewish. And in the ghetto, they crammed 500,000 Jews into 2.4% of the area of the city.
And how many bodies were they burning in Auschwitz at the peak of their production?
12,000 a day. I have to check and recheck. And did I dream that at 4 p.m. on the 19th of January, 58,000 emaciated inmates were marched out of Auschwitz?
Was I right to remember that in Bergen-Belsen, from the 4th to the 13th of April 1945, 28,000 Jews arrived from other camps?
I can remember hundreds and hundreds of phone numbers. Phone numbers I haven't called for 20 years are readily accessible.
And I can remember people conversation and what someone's wife said to someone else's husband. What a good memory you have, people tell me.
We played, we laughed, We were loved.
We were ripped from the arms of our parents and thrown into the fire.
We were nothing but children. We were going to have a future.
We were going to be lawyers, rabbis, wives, teachers, mothers.
We had dreams. Then we had no hope. We were taken away in the dead of night like cattle in cars, no air to breathe, smothering, crying, starving, dying, separated from the world to be no more.
From the ashes, hear our plea. This atrocity to mankind cannot happen again.
Remember us.
For we were the children whose dreams and lives were stolen away.
Some things I would rather forget.
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 Some things I would
Some
rather
things
forget.
Some things I would rather forget.
Some things I would rather forget.
Some things I would rather forget.